You are now tuned in to the real Coach JB Slap It Podcast.
It's the last chance for you, last chance for me. Will I make it? Will I take it to the top? We gon' see. It's the last chance for you, last chance for me. It's the last chance for you, last chance for me. It's the last chance for you, last chance for me. Will I make it? Will I take it to the top? We gon' see. It's the last chance.
What up, what up? Slap Dick Podcast, episode 17, coming at you with heavy hearts as we're doing this live on this Sunday. As everybody out there in the world will know, by the time this launches, Kobe Bryant has passed away in a horrific fucking helicopter crash, man. If anyone that knows me, all my good friends, people out there that I've damn near come to blows with, arguing who the best NBA basketball player of this world ever was. Everyone that knows me it was Kobe Bryant. Not only for what he did on the court, but obviously the father he was, the Mamba Sports Academy that he had started, and obviously he was a iconic figure, not only in LA but worldwide. You know, he spoke like fucking 8 languages and named all his kids after Italian names and so on and so forth, man. And you know, I felt sick all day long. Good friend of mine, Dave, who was the barber on the show Last Chance U. Me and him grew up together, and you know, we're the biggest Kobe fans you ever find. And you know, we had long conversations today on the phone, and it's just saddening and it's sickening to hear that this accident happened. You know, even Spree's not a Kobe fan as a player, but, you know, obviously he knows he's an iconic figure, and it doesn't matter if you're a fan or not of the person or the player. You know, bottom line is you don't ever want anyone, your worst enemy, to go out in a plane or a helicopter crash, and it's fucking sickening, man. All I can do is drink, man, and you know, pour one out for the homies, man. I mean, Kobe passed away today, and it's just saddening, man, for all LA fans. Nah, homie, he left a lighter down there. Homie, this cat. Soggy. So, it's a lighter, homie.
Excuse us, people. We got dog situations.
Stogie. So my dog is fucking up my lighter because Spree is a slapdick and left it out hanging, and so, you know, it is what it is. But it's real life shit because it's the Slapdick Pod. We're not going to edit shit. But again, man, my heart goes out to the families and all the friends of Kobe Bryant. Greatest hooper to ever walk the earth, in my opinion. Greatest winner. Best two-guard shooter ever to live, I think. Best two-ball on-the-ball defender ever to guard the position. I just think he was the most well-rounded, hardest-working guy. So the quote of the day, man, and a quote for using Kobe's quote. I got to use a Kobe quote, so he gets all the credit, man. You asked for my hustle, I gave you my heart. That should go out to all you youngsters out there that's trying to aspire to be the greatest, man. You know, the sport that you play or the business that you're in, ask for your hustle. So we all give it. But we give you our heart, man. So you want our hustle, we give you our heart, and that's how he did it. He approached every day, and I'm my guts wrenching, man. It's fucked up deal day to day, and especially for him to pass away right up the street from where we are, and in a helicopter crash, it's just stupid to me. I just don't get it, but. Nipsey Hussle died on a Sunday. Kobe dies on a Sunday on a gloomy, overcast, foggy day in LA, man. It's just a sad day. And then they got the Grammys going on.
Yes, sir.
At the Staples and or in LA, and they got 30,000 Kobe fans out there. Fuck the Grammys, man. Hold up. Kobe's house is occupied right now, so it's messed up, man. Bad day. Spree, I don't know what your thoughts are, man, but all I could do is smoke and drink today.
Yeah, it's a cold situation, man. We deal with it every day coming from the cities we come from. So losing loved ones and people is damn near normal. Yeah, I hate to say.
It's expected. What I mean? Unfortunately, it's expected.
Yeah. So but it's tragic, man. It's just, if somebody goes, it's the people they leave behind. You know what I'm saying? The ones that's gone is gone to the next whatever there is, whatever you believe in or whatever. But the cats that's still here living on this in this hell box, we still here, and we the ones that gotta grieve and shit.
And not to forget, man. There's still reports out there that there was 9 bodies now coming. Reports that there's 9 people on that helicopter. It was a big helicopter, apparently. It's unfortunate that there was a JUCO coach, JUCO baseball coach here in Southern California at Orange Coast Community College. He was the baseball coach there for 28 years. Him, his wife, and daughter were also on the flight that died. So shouts out to them too. Of course, Kobe's going to get all the credit or not the credit, but he's going to get the fame because of the name.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a lot of the tweets that you guys see. But there was many lives lost today. Pilot, everybody that it doesn't matter who passes away. It's a life lost, and it's fucked up. We've seen this so many times, and so a JUCO product like myself passed away today as well in that same ride on the helicopter. So rest in peace to him and his family as well.
Oh yeah, and plus now that Kobe's gone, man, he's not gonna be around for the the talks of the LeBrons and who was better, who did this and who did that.
Yeah.
I mean, we get wrapped up in all the all the talks. I don't like him and this and that. Just for the sport of it. So. But when it's real life like this, all that shit goes to the wind, dog.
Kobe's daughter, man, 13-year-old Gianna, everybody saw the video that's viral of Kobe coaching her up on the sideline. And I have a daughter myself. Spree has a daughter himself. I mean, that's so bad, man. That's worse. Lamar Odom said it best. Lamar posted a tweet. If God would have allowed him, he would have been in place of Kobe on that flight and his daughter. So that's how I feel, man. It's like unfortunate, man. His daughter being on there, just 13 years old, who Kobe's on record saying, I didn't need a son. My fucking daughter was going to rep me. And that's some cold shit. You know what I mean? And Kobe just came out and obviously has been one of the most proactive advocate for women, female sports and WNBA basketball players. He's a big part of getting them a raise. He's a big part of repping women athletics and female athletics, and he came out and said 3 or 4 WNBA players he felt can play in the NBA. So his daughter was probably going to be one of them, and she dreamed of playing at UConn, man, for Coach Oriyama. So unfortunate day, man, sickening. I know Mark Jones is going to be on the show in a couple weeks. Was an ESPN doing the Pelican game tonight. He just didn't even want to do the game. And
Doc Rivers played today, but he broke down and shit before.
Trae Young wore number 8 jersey tonight for the Hawks, representing because he's also a Mamba Academy client. Just as so many NBA. Kobe's shoe is still number 1 shoe seller. And more NBA players wear the Kobe shoe than any other brand.
That ugly ass shoe?
Yeah. So
God damn.
Must be comfortable. So.
Nah, it must be Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know how that go.
That tells you his legacy is something that's unfuckwittable. That was an old rap song by Jamal. If you guys don't know who that is, go Google it. Pro Bowl was on today. It's a joke. It's a fucking mockery.
It was on?
Stop playing.
Damn.
Stop playing it. Nobody wants to play it. The players don't want to play it. I've talked to players of mine that were in it. They don't want to play in it. They want the check.
I don't want to watch it.
Today a D lineman got a lateral on a fumble and or a pick or something, and then the receiver for the other team is running alongside of him, letting him score. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a joke. And the NFL
some globetrotter shit.
You know what they need to do? Just like high school, I've been saying this: put them on a piece of paper, post the paper. Kirk Cousins made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Fucking Drew Brees made the Pro Bowl.
Like some PE shit. Go look.
And you made it. You could frame that. Keep that. And then have the festivities on the weekend. Like
that's fun stuff.
That shit's funner than the game.
Yeah, right,
Yesterday, Russell Wilson throwing in the holes between DBs and trying to pick it off. That's a good last little drill. You know what I mean? Do those things, man.
Even a 7-on-7 game or something just kind of fun.
Like Marcellus said, play flag football, man.
Yeah.
Play a flag game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. I got a topic real quick before we have a guest speaker tonight that everybody will recognize once he calls in, and a lot of people have requested him. But the Lakers, man, they may just be fakers. I'm a Laker fan. Of course, I grew up. I don't know how great the roster really is, but this is their deal. They've lost 10 games. They still have one of the best records in the NBA. They've lost 10 games, 2 to the Clippers. But this is what I'm most alarming to me. They've lost to Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly. All East Coast powerhouses.
You're naming good squads, though, man.
But that's what I'm saying. They beat up on the softest schedule in the NBA. Are they fakers or are they real? I mean, because they've lost. And then the other loss, they lost to Denver and Dallas. And that's 8 losses. So there's 2 other losses. I don't know. I'm not a fucking broadcaster, but I didn't research all that. But
Good
I know those teams on the East Coast have beat them, and those are all teams. Milwaukee's probably arguably going to be in the final, or Boston, or Toronto, or Philly. One of those teams will probably be in the. Miami's pretty good. Lakers have beat Miami twice, but still.
So the road is just not through the West. If you get there, you gotta fucking get to the East.
And, the West is supposed to be this iconic power this year, which they are pretty good up top to bottom. But shit, there's a couple teams on the East that are pretty good, man. And the Lakers haven't been. They beat the real top dodge teams yet. And I don't know, man. I'm curious to see how it goes. I don't know.
And you have 7 games to do it in too.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah. So we'll see. The one thing is they aren't load managing. They are playing when they can. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They do have a great road record. They're still going to be formidable opponents. I mean, they're not going to. They're pretty good. But I'm just saying. I'm just curious. I'm going to call it like I call it, like I see it. I'm a realist, and I want to know if they really are any good. Follow us on our YouTube channel, man. It's in our link in our bios.
Get them subscribers up, man.
Yeah,
Tell your friends.
Follow us on our social medias.
Shit.
Real Coach _JB, Spreewell Inc. I'm gonna introduce our guest to the world out there. We got the voice of the Independence Pirates, he's from Independence, Kansas. He's been there, and he's a lifer there, and his grandfather there, and his family, his blood is part of some very historical history in Independence, and he's a Southeast Kansan, and it's the voice of the Pirates. And if you out there listening to the show, you guys will know his voice, obviously, from Last Chance U. You got Jeff Carpenter, is on the show tonight, and you'll give it up. You can follow Jeff on @JC Radio Sports on his social media, so make sure you guys follow Mr. Carpenter on that. I know he's Jeff. I know you've been. We ain't talked in a while. I've been swamped, man. I've been all over the damn countryside. You've been doing the basketball games at Indy, I know, and announcing those. And Jeff, I always start off with a quote, man. We started the day off obviously with the horrific news of Kobe Bryant, who's my favorite player of all time, and his daughter passing, and a JUCO product too that just leaked. The head baseball coach at Orange Coast Community College here in Southern California, 28-year baseball coach, was also on it with his wife and kid. So it's been an unfortunate day. It's like a gut-wrenching sock in the stomach to me, obviously, being here in L.A., and he's an iconic figure. I think he's the best that ever played, and obviously what he did here in L.A. with the Mamba factory and the Mamba, the workout facility that he's created here, and it's been an unfortunate day, man. But my quote today was Kobe's quote, who said, "You asked for my hustle, and I gave you my heart." And that was a Kobe Bryant quote, and I think that goes to everybody that's in the business world, sports world, whoever. Our business or our sport obviously asked for our hustle, and for all those youngsters out there, I think we need to give them our heart. So that was Kobe Bryant topic, and it's an unfortunate day, to say the least.
Hug your families. Kisses and hugs to your families, man.
Yeah.
Shit, every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, hug your kids that much tighter, no doubt.
That's right.
It's further proof, Jeff. You know, it don't matter how much fucking money you have, man. It can be gone in a damn New York minute.
Yeah, it's really true, man. It is a huge tragedy. I mean, I'm still in shock. You know, when I first heard about it, I was hoping it was
fake news.
You know, erroneous report of news, and I thought, you know, surely this didn't happen. And then, you know, it just kept getting worse. Finding out, of course, his daughter also perished in the crash, and as you mentioned, you know, the other people that were involved lost their lives, and you know, it's a true tragedy, and you know, it just lets you know just how precious life truly is.
Yeah. No doubt about it, man. Again, Jeff Carpenter is on the show here, gracing us with his presence. I appreciate you, Jeff, calling in, man. I know it's a couple hours ahead out there in Kansas. For all the followers out there, I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma tomorrow night around this time, doing a book signing and a picture taking deal at Classic Cigars downtown Tulsa. My favorite cigar spot in the area. Good people there. Come by and check it out. Have a stick, sip on some yak, get a book signed, come hang out. I don't know what games will be on. Probably basketball, but it's a great environment, full bar. You can order food next door, and it's a nice little spot in downtown Tulsa on Boston Avenue. But getting back to Jeff, man, what's been going on, man? How's everything going, man?
Hey, you know, man, it's just kind of business as usual. You know, I'm still running the gym there in Neodesha, Kansas, even a smaller town than Independence. So,
no doubt.
I've been doing that for a little over 13 years. So that keeps going on, thankfully. And as you mentioned, I'm doing basketball now for Independence Community College. So, pretty excited about that, man. I've done basketball for several years in the past, but really have not been involved on the Pirate side of things in the basketball scheme of it for several years. So this year got an opportunity to get back into it, and they're fun to watch. You know, the girls are doing good, the guys are doing well, and in fact, we just had a doubleheader last night in Indy, and both of them won big. In fact, we had one of the guys for the Pirates that went off for 33 points. He had 9 3-pointers, and
wow.
So they're pretty exciting to watch. Yeah, no doubt about it. But brother, it's you know, pretty much the same stuff. Not a whole lot different. You know, we don't have the cameras there anymore. Now I don't have you there anymore. So sure. You know, a lot of it is a lot calmer than it used to be, I suppose.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, that was one of my questions. Glad you beat me to it.
I'll be honest with you, man. It's and I don't mean to steal your thunder on what you're going to ask me, but it's a lot more tame now, and I you know, I miss you a lot. I mean, I hope you know that. I mean, we always had a great time hanging out, and you know, those days I will never forget. And you know, and this is honest to goodness from my heart. JB opened so many doors for me and gave me an opportunity to be discovered by people, you know, all over the world. And you know, honestly, I go places now, and if people don't recognize me by face from being on Last Chance U, when I talk, they know my voice. And they know I'm the voice of the Pirates. And that's something that I owe to JB, because he gave me that opportunity. He's the one that brought Last Chance U cameras to Independence, and Greg Whiteley, you know, graced me with the ability to be on that show, and I'm very thankful to him also.
Nah, man, you're always you know, you're a class act, brother, in my book. You know, you always have been. You know, one thing about it is, man, Stogie has found a new leg to fuck. And that's my co-host. That's my co-host, Spree. So,
well, Spree, I'm glad.
Yes. Spree wants to thank you, and you might want to thank him. So maybe I can get you out to California one day
safely.
But
he's got a leg up on me, so I'm glad.
Stogie has a leg up on me.
Hey, I told people, Jeff, I said, man, I felt bad. And I said, man, Jeff took a lot of the brunt of Stogie's younger years, man.
Wow.
He was a
bless you, Jeff.
He was a legaholic, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Stogie was the reason I never could wear shorts in Kansas, even in the summertime.
No doubt. All you listeners out there, Jeff had a couple dogs himself. Stogie being a 6-month-old to a year old or whatever, year and a half. In Kansas, Stogie took a liking to Jeff and his dog smells, and he gave Jeff a hard time. And Jeff's a class act, though, man. I would have been socking Stogie, and Jeff took it with class, man, and dignity.
Yeah. I just loved him up, man. I love Stogie, man. He's, we miss him too.
Yeah,
we miss him out here.
Shit, man.
I understand now. You have a new addition to the family.
Yeah,
is that correct?
I got a little girl we call Callie, and she's another fucking. She might be a fuck stick. I don't know. She's a slap dick for sure, but she's a borderline. Now she's much more mild mannered. And for now, she's only 11 weeks old, but she's growing like crazy, and she's got some markings on her. She's beautiful, but she's wild now. She'll go after Stogie too. So she don't back down from shit. I'll tell you that. And her and Stogie go at it, man. And Stogie's sitting here laying down right now as we speak underneath us. He actually sleeps during the podcast right under. He just, him, he don't leave my sight. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think maybe it sounds like Stogie might have met his match.
He might have. I should get him a fucking. If I got him a Tinder or whatever, I just found out what that was. If I got him a Tinder, he would have swiped to the right or whatever and got it. And he would have got Callie. So I'm gonna do one of those deals. I did a deal. I don't know if you saw the little Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, whatever that little LinkedIn. Yeah, I did the little.
I did see that.
Yeah, I got to do Stogie one, man.
Oh yeah.
I think you're right. I think he deserves that.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
I'm gonna have to do that, man. That's a good idea. I'm gonna have to do that and send me a picture of your leg, will you, so I can put his Tinder on it.
Yeah, he really didn't care which one it was, man.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
That might be all four. That might be all four pictures. Hey, Ports comes over and sees them on occasion to the new house I got, and he goes after Ports still, and Ports is like, "Fuck it, I just let him finish, man." And I don't even try to fight him off.
Oh man, I miss Big Dave too, man.
He is big. Dave is big. That motherfucker's he's a head of his class. He's a huge one. I had Coy Dang on the show, and I'm gonna have some more of the guys. I'll have Rakeem and Calvin Jackson. I'll have some guys on the show, and we're just getting. Jeff, I didn't want to do this shit, man, and I told you knew from the gate because you always asked me to do one, and I said I ain't gonna do this shit, and the company came after me, and they're a big company out in LA, and they've got a bunch of big people doing them, and I was like, you know what, I ain't doing shit, man, and I'm doing the books, and I'm doing speaking engagements. I said, fuck it. I said, we'll set it up at the house. And
I think you kind of like it now. It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it, Jeff, yet, but, the thing is, I'm used to getting the questions asked. I never wanted to do the questions. That's why I asked Spree. I said, man, I need somebody here to shoot the shit with at least so it's fluent. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? And then, good friends of mine, and they're public figures, and I've had some great guests on, and I'm gonna have a lot bigger or more guests coming on. But we've had, Marcellus Wiley and Max Crosby at Raiders DN, and I'll have Michael Rappaport. I've had Eddie George on. I've had some, I'll have Charlie Ward coming on and Mark Jones, ESPN.
Yeah, I think it's great, man.
Yeah.
No, I really believe, JB, it's a natural move for you, And I know you were against it at first because I remember your and my conversation regarding it, and you were like, nah, that isn't anything I want to do, But I'm glad you're doing it. I think it's going to be something that eventually, if you haven't already kind of taken a liking to it, you will. Yeah. You will eventually. It's going to become a real natural thing, and I think the sky's the limit on what you're going to be able to do with it.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. We're just talking real talk here, and then Jeff's a good dude, man. And I talked to my agent, man, and he's a smart guy. It's like it's crazy. It's like the more you go on the entertainment side on the scale, the lower your coaching side on the scale goes. See what I'm saying? So
right.
You're gonna coach, or you're gonna be in entertainment. You got to tip the scale. You're gonna, and then especially me. I say what the hell ever comes to my mind, and so
which is podcast worthy.
So yeah,
right.
It's rating worthy, but my coaching side is going down and down and down. So, hey, I don't know. Am I coaching again or what? Who knows? But
it might be good.
It might be good.
He said,
"Yeah, I don't think that'll ever completely close down on the coaching part, man. I really don't. But I truly believe, when one door closes, there's another one that opens, and
no doubt.
This is just another opportunity for JB to do something that." Again, that's what life is. It's the variety that keeps us interested in doing things. And if we do the same things all the time, we're going to get burned out, and it's not going to excite us anymore.
No doubt. 25 years straight, man. Coaching and playing. This is my first year off in 25 years straight, consecutive. So it's been a fresh breath of air. It's been interesting. Me, Jeff. I don't do anything unless I'm fishing at it, and I got 2 feet in on the deal, and I'm either 2 feet in or 2 feet out. I'm never 1 foot in or 1 foot out. So I'm still trying to get both feet in. 1 foot's still out, I think. And I'm trying to get it.
But
if
you're not comfortable, if you're comfortable, that's something wrong with that. You have to be uncomfortable a little bit to grow.
Yeah. Well, you got to be comfortable.
Absolutely.
You got to be comfortable at being uncomfortable.
Right.
I used to tell my players that every day, and my coaches. Shit,
Right. No, I think it's great, man. I'm digging it for you. I really am. And I knew in the back of my mind.
Have you heard any of them?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I love listening to them, man. And I think the thing is, you have a unique enough format on what you're doing. I think that's going to set you apart from a lot of other people that are doing podcast-related stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the niche in anything in life, is you have to find that sweet spot. And everybody has one. It just takes a little while to locate it and really bring it out.
No doubt. So you still got yours?
Man, I really haven't been involved in mine too much lately. To be real honest with you, with working and doing the ball games and stuff, it's limited me on doing too much of anything other than that. And I don't mean to sound like I'm the busiest guy in the world, but on nights, 2 or 3 nights a week, if I have basketball games and I work throughout the week, doesn't leave a whole lot of time. And I'm kind of like you. If I can't really be efficient and productive at what I do, then I really don't want to halfway do it. And so I've been kind of standing away from it for the time being. But hopefully one of these days I'll get back into it. And when I do, I hopefully I can get it going and jumpstart it again.
No doubt. Let me know, man, and promote the hell out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's life been like, man? tell everybody out there, man, how your life was before last chance you showed up in Independence, and how it is after. I know you touched on it a little bit, but prior to my first year there, we hadn't met. I got there year one. I don't remember us talking a lot during that first year there. We went 5-4. We knocked off the big dogs first time in 20, 30 years at Independence. It beat Coffeyville, Highland, Hutch, and Butler in the same year.
Right.
And we did that year one, and then we took on a forfeiture, obviously, year two. We had to forfeit a game because of a bench clearing riot before I got the job, which I had to inherit, unfortunately, which is shitty rule. But, that year comes, we win. We finished tied for second in our first year there. And then the second year, obviously, we win it all. And you're the voice of the Pirates on a nationally recognized or a global recognized show. And then, the third year we have a bad nucleus, and I think it was just one of those years. You coach long enough, you're going to have one of those years, or 2 or 3 of those years. But, and it was one of those years that, the situation. We were still the most talented team. We lost every damn game by 1, 2, 3, 7. we lose those games like that, and then we have a bad year, and then obviously, I leave and that whole shit show, and then how's it kind of been? I mean, I pushed hard to get Kyoshi the job, and Tammy hired him, and then Tammy left, and then Dan Barwick, the president, left, and then it's a whole new regime there, and we don't have to get into all that shit. I don't care, but what how's it kind of been, man? I mean, obviously, and tell the fans how Independence was prior to our arrival, and then how it's kind of been now as a nationally recognized, probably top 5 JUCO in the country as far as name.
Well, before you got here in Independence, we were the doormat of the Jayhawk Conference, had been for decades, virtually.
Maybe arguably the nation. Arguably the nation.
And I think so. Yeah. I think so, man. I mean, we had went through so many, 1-10 seasons, 2-9s, 2-8. I mean, that was a typical time for what Independence had. Some years we'd go winless. I've been the voice of the Pirates for, I think, going on 18 years right now. And it was really difficult for me to do those games as play-by-play broadcaster. I mean, when you're down 50-0 at halftime, what are you going to talk about?
Wow.
And, to be real honest with you, I think it helped me more than anything, and it helped to make me who I am today. Not that I am, top-notch, nationwide, but it helped me to grow and understand that I had to create on the air, and being on the air for 3+ hours doing a football game, by myself primarily, and you find ways to create and try to keep your audiences engaged, and that's the most difficult thing to do. When you're winning, it's easy because everything's going great, and let's face it, it's easy to talk about how great your team is and you're blowing people out and you're winning all these games. Well, we were losing all the games, and schools were scheduling us as their homecoming game. I mean, we were like the homecoming game 4 or 5 times a year.
Wow.
And so that's just kind of a generalization of what it was like at Independence Community College before you got there, JB. And as you mentioned, your first year you come in and you shock the Jayhawk, knocking off the big 3. You guys finished 5-4, which was unheard of. Our first winning season in over 20 years at Independence. And then the next year, the unspeakable and unthinkable happens. You win it all for the Pirates, and we win our first bowl game in school history.
Wow.
Coupled with the fact you're the Jayhawk Conference Coach of the Year. So it was the entire enchilada wrapped up into a Cinderella story, and it was all caught on film by Netflix, Last Chance U, and that made it even more special because basically we went from the outhouse to the penthouse in a blink of the eye, and the community really had a hard time, I think, grasping how fast things evolved, and I believe that was one of the things that was so shocking to everybody is how can it be turned around that fast? How can Independence, who has been the laughingstock in football, now be not only relevant, but they're the kingpins of the Jayhawk Conference? And as you mentioned, I think we are one of the top 5 programs in the United States. And that's something, when it happens so quickly and swiftly, it scares people. And I truly believe, the diehard fans love it, of course, for the Pirates, and they can't get enough of it. But for those that are on the fence, on the outside looking in, they don't truly understand it. And it's an unnerving time for them and a nervous time. And, I think now, since, your regime has ended when you left Independence Community College, things obviously are a lot more slowed down. And I mean that in a positive way toward you. I just mean that we don't have the cameras here. We don't have all the hype. We don't have, people coming in from all over the country, just wanting to be a part of the atmosphere of Last Chance U in Independence, Kansas, in small town, Kansas and southeast part of Kansas. I mean, that's never happened before, and it never will again, I don't believe. But the truth of the matter is now, things, I think, are as good as they can possibly be. I think Kiyoshi Harris has done a great job carrying on the tradition you started and the legacy that you left him. And you've been with him. You know him better than I do, and I consider him a really good friend of mine. He's a great guy for the job because, he does care about what you've established and keeping Independence relevant and making us a powerhouse and continuing to be strong in the Jayhawk. And that's the kind of stability we need that we've never had. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah, and that's a good little segue into that. Is like I was going to ask you too. No knock on Kiyoshi or anyone else, but I noticed I watched a few games online. Me and Ports were watching a few, and I noticed the crowd had diminished. I mean, it wasn't the crowd we were used to. Obviously, packed out and people, 200 people outside trying to get in. They couldn't even get in the gate. Right. Saw the crowd was down a little bit. Is that because of the cameras, you think, or did they think that, I left and the quality left, or what do you think that had to do with? I mean,
it's kind of hard to, honestly, JB, I don't really know for sure. I mean, you can draw your own conclusion either way or a combination of everything. I think the cameras had something to do with it. I mean, you remember obviously what it was like that first home game on the first year, season 3, when Netflix Last Chance U was there. We had people coming out of the woodwork going to that game. I mean, I've done this, like I say, 18 years. Yeah. 18 years I've been doing this, and never, ever, ever have I had to wait to try to get into the game.
Right.
So, I mean, that tells you right there, and that was an hour and a half before game time.
Wow.
So, that part of it, I think part of that is, but the tailgating on Thunder Road was unbelievably crazy. It was just bumper to bumper. I think part of it was the cameras. I think also part of it is the fact that you were there. And, you have that charisma, whether people like it or they don't like it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times you're bigger than life. And I think a lot of people came because they loved you and they wanted to see what you were going to bring to Independence. And then you're going to have the haters that are going to show up.
Yeah, we had
that are going to want to see you fail.
Right.
And it's a combination of things. It's the love-hate relationship, but that only happens when you have a magnanimous personality like yourself, when you're a bigger than life type of person. And when a person is like that, you're going to have both sides of it. You're going to have the love and the hate. And I think it was kind of a combination of all that stuff. The cameras, the hype, the possibility of what if Independence, is nothing but a bust, a one-year wonder. What they did the first year you were there, they surely can't do that again. And then there were those curiosity seekers that wanted to see maybe Independence is for real. So there was so many storylines and bylines to what really was going on, with that first season or season 3 on the cameras that, I mean, it was hard for me to wrap my mind around it.
Sure.
Because I was biggest concern I had was that the cameras and all the hype were going to take away from what was going on the field, and the players wouldn't be able to stay focused.
Right. And coaches.
Obviously, that didn't happen in year 3. Yeah. I mean, the guys did unbelievably job, as you know, and everyone else knows from watching Last Chance U. They won on the cameras. They won in front of the world. And that made us, the world's team. The Cowboys might be America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. We were the world's team because, everybody across the globe fell in love with the Dream U Pirates.
Yeah.
And that was a cool thing to be a part of.
No doubt. That's a story nobody knows out there, Jeff. You might have known if you were around year 1. But we had a scrimmage against Iowa Western year 1. We scrimmaged them because we had a forfeiture game that we were supposed to play them week 1. but we didn't get to because we had the forfeiture that I inherited. So we scrimmaged them. They came down to play us, and we had a Kansan kid from Parsons who was like all-state, was the world there in Kansas. He was the best player in the whole area. And he refused. He didn't want to. We were short. We had 10 on the field on a kickoff, and then I find out it was this fucker that didn't go out there, and he was a white kid from Parsons, and so I berated him and motherfucked him up and down, and I grabbed him, and it was a scrimmage, and I'm calling him everything in the book, and I'm getting fucking booed. And this was a scrimmage, right? And so game 1 we played Fort Scott, and the crowd brought soap bars in the crowd, and they all said I needed to eat a bar of soap because I had a potty mouth, and I'll never forget that shit, man. It was a great kid, man. It was a great kid, but his ass was scared to go out on kickoff because he's seen all them fucking black kids, I think, but. He was scared as a whore in church, man. Let me tell you, his ass didn't want to go out there, and they were fucking throwing soap bars on the sideline at me. Tammy was like, "What in the fuck did I get myself into?" So that started the magnanimous personality, I think, in Independence, and that's why I think you got a sold out crowd every game, and they wanted to see me cuss out a ref or a player or a coach or how good we were going to be. And obviously what, Jeff, everyone that don't know the stories, the real stories that weren't on the show, I mean, we took a lot of heartache, a lot of battles we had internally with the community in there, practicing at the municipal field out there because of we practiced at 5 a.m. and people thought I was crazy, but we practiced at 5 a.m. and obviously we had the highest graduation rate, the highest GPA, the most kids graduated and moved on to 4-year schools in the history of junior college in my 3 years. And we did that for a reason, because I think the kids had to go to sleep at night, stop the drama in dorms, 1. 2, it made them go to school right after, and they were up, and they went to class, and we had the highest attendance records, GPAs, all that shit. And it was a method to the madness, and people didn't realize it, but they heard me cussing at 5 a.m.
Wow. And
we're in a community, as you know, where the stadium was. It's nestled around not only the largest cemetery in Kansas, but it's nestled around a lot of homes. And I never came there to bother people at 5 a.m, but community members heard me yelling at the team and all that at 5 a.m, and so we got email after email after email from people in the community pissed off, and Tammy and Dan had to deal with that. But like I said, I was boisterous about it. I said, you know what? It was real quiet at 5 a.m. when you fuckers were shitty and lost. So yeah. Take the yelling and let's win some fucking games.
Well, that's true. And you can't have it both ways. That's the problem. And I think, the people love the winning side of it. They were, extremely happy that all of a sudden Independence Community College Pirates were winning games and winning the conference. But unfortunately, a lot of times at the price that you have to pay to win, not everybody is on board to accept what it takes to get to that point. And I think that was one of the big things that, and I'm going to use the term haters, and I'm going to use the term fence walkers, because you've got some of them that, do walk the fence. They'll support the Pirates, but they're not necessarily all in on what it takes to get to a championship caliber team. And I think, unfortunately, in any rural area, and not just Kansas, but I think probably anywhere in the country, if it's a small rural area, we're under 10,000 people in Independence, you're going to have people with, jaw-dropping looks on their face when they hear language that they aren't comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to be part of it. It doesn't matter if it's Jason Brown saying it or it's somebody else saying it. It makes no difference. They're not going to be used to it, and they're not necessarily going to accept it. But, the funny thing was, when we were winning all those games, you didn't hear a lot of those naysayers and the negative comments. You might have heard people say, well, and I don't like the language, or I don't like this or that, but you didn't hear a lot of chatter about, well, all these things are going wrong at the school and this and that and so forth. That wasn't coming out, because winning heals a lot of wounds, and it takes care of a lot of haters and naysayers, and it really keeps them silenced. And I thought it was interesting after that, season 3, which would have been your second year there at Independence. After the bowl game win, those people virtually disappeared. You never even heard anything from them anymore.
No doubt.
When year 4 came around, or year 4, season 4 on Last Chance U, obviously, and here's the ironic thing, JB, and I don't know if you remember. I remember you telling me before that season 4 started that you said, Jeff, this year could be a meltdown year for us. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, no way. We got all these dudes here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're picked to be the champions again. We were preseason number 1 pick. And you're like, that doesn't mean anything. He goes, don't be surprised if something happens.
Yep. Nucleus.
It was a premonition. I will never forget that him telling me that. And I thought, and as the season went on, Spree, it blew me away, because I'm like, oh my God, this is coming true.
Wow.
And it did.
Yeah, when you do it long enough, man, your gut tells you certain things. When I knew that we had a nucleus that was there for other reasons other than going to school, performing on the field, and getting a scholarship. They were there for a globally recognized show. And as you know, I turned down 200, 300, 400 people from coming to school. Plus, we had 100 people just show up, and we didn't even know who the fuck they were.
Craziness.
And we're just like, holy shit. That's how powerful those cameras are. Plus, they don't show on the show, 7 coaches that I had to let go, and numerous kids, 30 plus kids I had to cut from, everything from stealing at Walmart to whatever. And I tell people all the time, my teams have always won 6 days out of the week, and that leads to winning the 7th day, which is game day. And people never understood what that meant. And I said, listen, every team I've ever had, I've always bought and the shit that I've sold. And, we've always won 6 days out of the week. And that means doing right in the community, study hall, weight room, practice, going to class, academically. We've always won those 6 days. And then that year came, and we were losing these games by 1 and 1 and 3 and 7. And then we get blown out by the worst team. And I told the team, you don't deserve to win a fucking game, because you don't act right the 6 days out of the week that leads up to that 7th day. And I said, that's just true. I'll go to the grave believing that is a true statement. You got to win 6 days out the week. I don't give a fuck if you're a RV salesman and your 7th day is a huge convention and you need to sell a bunch of motorhomes, or if you fuck up all 6 days of the week leading up to that, you're gonna lose on that 7th day.
Yeah.
And that goes into music business, and if you're a rapper, and your sales are gonna be shitty if those 6 other days are shitty. And I just think that's true for anything in the world that we live in, and I think it's experience-based world that we live in, and I think that it goes for it's no more true than it is in football. And I think you have to always act right and do right in order to win games. I just think the football gods worked out that way, and it's been that way. Me and Spree played on an 0-10 Compton College team after they had been on hiatus for a suspension for probation, being doing a bunch of illegal shit before our coach got the job. We go 0-10.
We lost in that same fashion as well.
We lost every game, 1, 7, 3, 1. Yeah. And Jeff, people don't know, we had dudes smoking weed in the locker room at halftime, drinking 40 ounces. You name it. We had all this shit going on, and football gods ain't gonna let you win on day 7, and
right.
And I think that's just true to the fact that that's what it goes, man. But I don't know.
Speaking of that, Coach, I mean, how did the community, Jeff, if you know, what was the shop talk like? You know, out here we go to the barber shop and get all the local news and we talk, you know, shop. How was it out there for you? Did you hear any whispers of the hate for Coach JB or the love for him? Was there a lot of talk? Drinking some coffee or tea?
You mean when he was there or after the fact?
Yeah. Well, after the fact, did you have any sense of anybody talking? Was it good for Kansas or bad? Or
I think there's going to be those that are totally loyal to JB and always will be.
Mm-hmm.
They love him, and that's never going to change. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people say, or what the rumor mill is. That doesn't change their mindset. Mm-hmm. And JB knows those people. He knows there's many of those people that still remain in Independence. And then you're going to have those that since day one, they weren't comfortable with what type of changes were being made and how Coach Brown was running the program, and they had their own opinion for it, and they were just waiting for the fall. Right. And again, those people surface when things go bad. And that's what, I kind of alluded to is after the year, the first year that Netflix was there and we won it all. We won the Jayhawk Conference. We won that first bowl game ever in school history. Those people faded away. You never heard of them. Right. And they disappeared, And then all of a sudden they start showing back up when things aren't going good, and they let, themselves be heard. All of a sudden you hear the rumor mill and different type of things being said, and I think that's just, again. yeah, exactly. That's the nature. I don't know if it's just the grapevine of a small town talk, but I think it's the nature of human beings. Right. Is some people just want to see others fail, and if they can't achieve anything in their life, they don't want anyone else to achieve. Right. And they're just waiting for something negative to happen. And unfortunately, I know that happened. And, that bothered me because I know Coach Brown well enough that I know that, he loves those kids. I know what he wants to do for those kids. He wants to take them to the next level, but he wants them to do it the right way. He wants them to earn it in the classroom. And, your talent on the field will attract the recruiters to the school, but your performance in the classroom will nail down the scholarship. And if you can't have that combination, you're not leaving JUCO. You're going to fade away and you're going to be a failure. And he won't let that happen. And that was the thing that impressed me even more than us winning, was seeing what these kids were accomplishing class and in their lives and moving on, and now seeing the Raheem Boyds dominate, at the Division I level for Arkansas. There's just so many great stories that have came out of it, and that's something that I've never had at Independence Community College. The thing was, we ever had recruiters that showed up at Independence, we were having to invite them. We were having to buy them food just to get them into the office. When JB was there's a lot of times those recruiters, D1 recruiters, they're bringing food for the Pirate coaching staff. So that's how huge of a turnover and a turnaround that was. And that's the special part and some of the really special things that I remember during JB's time in Independence. And I truly believe, Coach Harris, he's going to do a great job. We won the Jayhawk Conference, this past year, and 2 out of 3 years Independence has been Jayhawk Conference champions. That's heard of. And another thing that I think that is kind of a stigma that goes along with the change of the guard is now Independence is all of a sudden relevant in the last 3 or 4 years in the Jayhawk Conference. And so we win the conference title this past year, and we don't get a bowl bid. And it's the first time in 50 years that a junior college champion has not received a bowl bid. and Independence.
I was going to ask you about
once
that
again,
because you know, I wasn't allowed that shit. We were going to.
I know, man.
We would have got a bowl game, but you
it,
do you
it was
think
unbelievable?
Do you think it was because there's a forfeitures and shit like that, or
you know, man? Honestly, what I think it was is I think it was the fact that we're controversial, and we always will be. That's never going to change because Independence is not considered to be one of the blue bloods of the Jayhawk Conference.
Yep.
You know, we're all of a sudden kind of, and I hate to use this term, but I'm going to, we're kind of the stepchild of the Jayhawk Conference.
Yeah.
And now with us knocking off the blue bloods and shaking the conference upside down, I don't believe we're accepted on the same level as the other top 3-4 schools, you know, that have been there year after year, you know, the Coffeyvilles, the Butlers, the Hutch, the Gardens. You know, I just don't think that we're still accepted in the same air of greatness as they are. And we could win the title the next 3-4 years in a row, and I still don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that's the perception that there is in the Jayhawk Conference among the fraternity of coaches. Now, we've got new coaches coming in this next year in the Jayhawk, so it might change a little bit, but it just, that's kind of the vibe that I get is people always kind of have looked down at Independence because, like, we don't belong. You know, there's no way that you guys belong up here with us, and how dare you come in and take a conference title away from these other teams that, you know, have always shared it or won it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, I mean, I was talking to friends of mine out there and in that league and in the state, and, you know, they were just like, you know, half of it, I think, JB, is because you're gone, it's not relevant, it's not important, so fuck, why have Independence go waste a bowl game, one of our bowl bids, on a team that's not really going to have the following that they did. One, not being boastful, but that's just what people are telling me. And then the other one was, you know, the fact that they had the forfeiture, which to me is kind of bullshit, but they had the forfeiture game, plus Butler was 20, 30 guys down, they said, because of the fight they had with Hutch, and Indy ran them out the stadium by beating them, and they were like, that wasn't our team. Because you look at the voting. Butler didn't vote for fucking Indy to go to a bowl game, and then Butler gets a bowl bid. Come on, you know, that's just that it's that good old boy network that's what it was. And, and
you know, it does taint it, unfortunately, because of the forfeiture. But then again, it's happened, you know, in the past to other schools in the Jayhawk that some other team has had to forfeit, and somebody else is the recipient, and it elevates them up to the top, and they are all of a sudden the champion when they were tied for second, or whatever the case is. Yeah. And I think it's just opportunity presents itself for whatever the reason. And if it would have been Hutch that received the forfeiture, or Butler, or whoever, nobody would have said anything.
Nope.
You know, it would have just been the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's
I think they're
the
still
thing.
Mad that JB was once there. But that's just me.
Well, I think what you did when you came in and shook up the conference, again, you turned it upside down. And when that happens, it's going to be next to impossible for anybody to ever forget that. And that leaves an indelible mark on everyone throughout the conference. And like I say, now there's been a change of guard in the head coaching at some of those schools and stuff. So, you know, there may be a little bit of forgiveness going forward, you know, and a little more open-mindedness now. I don't know. That remains to be seen. But it didn't have been a combination of a lot of things as to why we didn't get the bowl bid. For me, yes, I would have loved to went back to another bowl. The reality is I hated it for the kids because those are the guys blood, sweat, and tears, you know, that did everything they needed to do to get to that point, and then you have the rug pulled out from under you, and now somehow, some way, Coach Harris has to try to explain to them why we didn't get the bowl bid. Yeah. There is no explanation. It's politics.
He probably said JV.
And it's because nobody likes JB in the conference. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. That's what he said.
Well, that would have been an easy way out, I suppose.
Hell yeah. Let me ask you this, man. We took some fan questions, so I got some fan questions, man. What was one of the things? What was one of the things the cameras missed, or what should they have shown, in your opinion?
Man, I think there was a lot more history of independence that was not shown on Netflix. Again, and I'll use just for example, the fact it never was once mentioned, how Mickey Mantle played, back in the minor league baseball game, the first game under lights there in the stadium that we played our football games in. That was never brought up.
Wow.
I just think there's something. Independence is a really cool little town, and it's got a lot of neat stuff going on and things that have happened in the past. But,
what was that? What was the monkey? What was the monkey that went?
Yeah, Miss Abel.
Miss Abel.
Yeah, Miss Abel was the first monkey ever shot into space. So
really,
yeah. I just think that there's some things that have been highlighted. But then you and I both know how many thousands of hours of film ends up on the cutting floor to try to pump it into a 40 or 45 minute episode. And you only have 8 of those to put together to try to make a storyline make sense and be attractive to your viewers all over the world. I never want to take anything away from what Greg Whiteley did or does. I think he's brilliant. I think, what he does on camera and on TV, it's masterful. And I just think there was a couple things that they could have highlighted a little bit more and really brought to light and shown Independence as not just another little rural town in the middle of the country. Because we have some pretty cool things that have happened here and still continue to happen. And, we've got some great people in the community, and it's a proud community for a small town. And granted, I know, people, if they come in from the outside and look at it, they're like, well, this is just a little podunk town, and there's a million of them across the United States. And on the outside looking in, it may be that way. But there was some things I think they could have touched on.
No doubt. As Stogie opens the garage door and comes in like a human, there's a couple other questions. What was your first impression of me, and how did it change, if it did, etc.?
I remember the first time we met. I'm not sure if you remember or not. Tammy introduced us.
Okay.
And we were at Uncle Jack's.
Was that drunk?
Was it?
You know what? I don't think so. You didn't act drunk, as far as I know.
I never act drunk, by the way.
No. I thought at the time that I met you, I thought, you know what? I like the fact that you had eye contact with me. Yeah. We shook hands. You kept eye contact. You didn't bounce all over the room or look down the floor, or you never had what I call the shifty eyes. That never happened.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of stock in that when I meet people. If you can't look me in the eye, I have a problem with that. And it always makes me wonder, either I'm not worthy of your attention or you have something to hide.
No doubt.
And
every day's an interview. Every day's an interview, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. And that never happened from the get-go. And here's the thing, honestly, JB, that I probably remember most, and it was just 2 or 3 days after we met. I was out at Walmart, and you were at Walmart with Coach Harris, and you were coming toward me down the main aisle of Walmart there in Independence. And we had only met briefly when Tammy introduced me. You made it a point to say hi to me.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot to me, because I thought right then, I was like, this is a stand-up guy. We've met one time briefly for 2 or 3 minutes and just chit-chatted, and you stopped and made a point to say hi to me and how's it going. And I thought, you know what? That's pretty cool. So right out of the gate.
You sure he didn't pick your pocket, Jeff? He didn't pick your pocket, did he? I think. And Jeff, you gotta watch this dude.
I'll tell you what, Spree, if he did, he would have been really disappointed.
Hey, Jeff, and then
he would have probably stuffed something in my pocket.
Hey, Jeff, and then all the viewers out there, they probably, based on how I was depicted, they probably thought I left you and I just sprinted down the hall and just started motherfucking little babies. So that's just it. People think I just was cussing kids out at Walmart.
That was one of the funniest things I ever heard you say, was that people think I go out to Walmart and make little babies cry.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, goddamn.
But no, seriously, man, I really, when I first met you, that meant a lot to me. Our first encounter or first meeting, and I think that's kind of the selling point with anybody anywhere in the world, is your first meeting means a lot.
No doubt.
And but that stands out to me. But it never changed. I only got to the point where I liked you more because I got to know you. I got to see the humor that you have. I got to see, how you look at things and how you take things and your slant on how things unfold around you. And, I've laughed harder probably in the time that I've known you than I ever have any time in my life. So if that tells people there is a totally different side to Jason Brown that they may not know, I can tell you right now, man, the guy's got a great sense of humor, and you will die laughing around him, just being around him.
Last question.
It was all good.
I got 2 questions left. Leading into what you just said, what was your favorite story of me while you were there? Something along those lines. If you have one, I don't know. We're on the Slapdick podcast, so you might as well say it,
man. There's probably a lot of them, but I'll just, for the sake of time being of doing it, this one, I don't know if you remember or not. You remember when we were coming back from Lawrence after you went up there and did that speaking engagement at the University of Kansas?
Yeah.
And we were coming back, and we were coming through Burlington, Kansas, and of course you were driving your caddy. And I had made mention, I was like, hey, bro, you better kind of watch your speed through here, blah, blah, blah. I was like, there's a lot of hypos out about. And you're like, yeah, no problem. I'm not going very fast. So we're flying along, Spree, mind you. And all of a sudden, I have this funny feeling there's this dark SUV that's coming toward us in the other lane, and it passes us. And I look in the side view mirror. I'm riding shotgun. I look in the side view mirror, and sure enough, it does a U-turn real quick. And here it comes, and the lights are on. Anyway, it's a sheriff from that area, and he pulls JB over, and he comes up, and he asks JB, he goes, you know why I pulled you over? And JB's like, no, I don't have any idea. And he's like, well, I clocked you doing 92. And JB goes, 92? He goes, that seems kind of fast. And he goes, well, sir, that's the reason I pulled you over. So for me, I thought it was pretty funny, but I know at the time.
That's right.
JB just sat there and had that look on his face. He looked over at me. The look. Kind of like, oh, man, what?
Right after he tells you he's not going too fast, huh?
Yeah, he's like, no, man, I'm not going very fast. I was like, all right, wow. You're going 92, But anyway, I mean, there are a lot of stories that, honestly, that JB had that I, had remembered. But that one there it struck me funny just because of the way that it unfolded. JB never lost his composure, never lost his cool. He just kind of looked over at me and rolled his eyes, when the guy said that. And it was all I could do, man, not just start busting out laughing. I didn't figure that'd probably help our chances any, but...
That's pretty good for me because I'm pretty bad with cops. Usually I cuss them out.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just stuffed the ticket in the glove box with the rest of them. So
they're like fucking referees to me, man. Here's another question, last one for you. What is a main thing or one thing a lot of people misunderstood about me or the program that I was leading at the time?
I would say probably the main thing is I think some people thought that you were doing it for yourself and you were doing what you were doing for the attention for yourself and for your own accolades. And it was not for the team or the program or the kid. And it had been mentioned to me on more than one occasion. And I knew in my mind, and I, of course, told them my opinion when it was said to me that, I totally disagree with that because I know what these kids mean to Coach Brown, and I know what he's trying to do for these kids. Now, whether you agree with how he's doing it, that's up to you. But the reality is I know he's not doing what he's doing for his own benefit. That's not what this is all about. He can go anywhere he wants to in the country and coach football. What he's trying to do is turn a program around that has been in the shitter for decades and trying to make us relevant and along the way show these kids how to improve their life and also really plan for what's going to happen after football. You can't play forever. You've got to have some other plan and option, and that's where your education has to come in. And so I think that was the thing that, disappointed me on when somebody had said that to me on a couple occasions. And I thought, I totally disagree with that because I know better. I know what he's doing. I see it. And I also see what these kids are benefiting and how they reap the reward. And that's what life is. It's risk and reward. And Coach Brown basically, risked his time and effort in putting into what he did to Independence and to the college and the football program. And, unfortunately, some people were on board and some people didn't see it that way. And but you can't change everybody's opinion. Right. And you're surely not going to be a friend to everyone. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, no doubt, Jeff. You know how that is, man. It is what it is. I had broad shoulders. I accepted the deal, and I didn't give a shit about the cameras, as you know. It was the damn microphones that fuck with me. So
right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what I say, and we had a lot of good time.
You brought the cameras to Independence, brother. I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to put that out and go on record for saying that you're the reason that Netflix and Last Chance U came to Independence.
Well,
and people that are good or bad with that, that's the truth of the matter. And like I say, you've given a lot of people a lot of opportunity because those cameras were here.
Oh yeah,
and there's a lot of people that are in a lot better position now.
I think we made the town quite a bit of money, if I'm not mistaken. Shit,
I think so. I'm sure that
that's another podcast. That's a whole nother.
There was some revenue. There was revenue made. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And there's still people, honest to goodness, because I still walk my dog Floyd out there near the stadium and the cemetery. There's still people that come by to see the stadium that aren't from here.
Right. No doubt. Yeah.
So anyway, it's made an impact all over the world, man. And, like I say, I appreciate everything, that you've done for me. And you'll always be my brother. There's no doubt about that. And I know that, some people in Independence, they're never going to change their way of thinking, but I don't really think you care too much about that. That's my opinion.
I haven't lost a lot of sleep, Jeff. I haven't lost a lot of sleep. And Jeff, me being honest, man, I didn't give a two squirts of piss about winning football games in Independence. I gave a shit about getting those kids scholarships, which we did more than anybody in the country. And as you know, you might have your favorite players and your favorite guys that came through there, but obviously we'll probably have 10 to 12 guys get drafted next year off those two shows. Yep. And Rakeem obviously, being the top rusher in the SEC 2 years on the worst team in the SEC. I think his choice of coming back is I've had my discussions with him, and I've had him talk to Eddie George and different things, and running back being the most short-lived position in the NFL, we have our own opinions on everything, but hey, he's a loyal kid, and that's what I told him. I said, hey, you always were a loyal kid, and that's the good part about you. And he wants that college atmosphere, and he wants to go out a winner. And so I think they will be better this year, obviously. And he's just one of many stories. And we had a lot of guys come through there that a lot of guys that didn't even play for us still went Division I. And Jeff, and people don't know, we've had 30 kids graduate in the last couple weeks or months. From the 4-year institution after leaving us. So, again, my reputation precedes itself as far as not having those kids get kicked out of 4 years, not going to jail, graduating. I've had, I think, 131 kids now graduate with their bachelor's degree out of, I've sent 220 plus to Division I. 131 of them, I think, just graduated with their degree. And, 26 of them, I believe, have their masters now, and a lot of them are now educators or athletic directors or coaches. So, I built my own tree on the end of it, too, especially 13 coaches have gone to Division I. Spree went to the convention with me. A lot of those guys, Seth Hessness was coaching at Minnesota now. He was coaching tight ends with us. And the story goes, and the list goes on and on. Coach Grimes at Texas A&M. I mean, Dante, you knew well. He's been at 2 Division I's. He just got another job. So, those guys I pushed for to get jobs, man, because those coaches believed in what I sold them, and they knew that my word was going to be honest. I was going to tell them, no, he's a shitbird, or no, he's worth it. And that's why 13 coaches got jobs. And, that's the most of anybody. So that's just some of the things we did. And, our footprints are imprinted in the sand in Independence for good, for history, and we made history, and you were part of that, and I appreciated the ride, man. It was a good one, and I missed doing our interviews at Turbo's on Thursday nights, and those are good times, man. Whether it was fucking 20 below zero or 180. That's the two weathers you get in Independence. You get fucking it's 180 or it's fucking below 80.
You're right, man. It's one extreme or the other. That's the old saying in Kansas. You don't like the weather, stick around. It's going to change. So,
no doubt. No doubt.
But no, man, it was a great ride, JB. I appreciate it. And
hey.
Spree, you're next to a great guy, man. You really are.
Oh, yeah.
I envy the fact that you get to do the podcast with him, and I know that they're going to be super successful. They're going to continue to get a huge growing audience, and I appreciate having me on tonight. And
appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Don't be a stranger, guys. Hit me up whenever, and
been a great
we'll
one.
Be
man.
happy to.
Been a great one.
Happy to chop it up, some brother.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Make sure you guys, as we sign out here, make sure you guys follow Jeff at JC Radio Sports on his social media. Is that both, or you just got Twitter, or what?
Yeah, primarily I'm on Twitter, man. I don't do too much on Facebook or any of that kind of stuff, but. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn also, so I'm out there as well. And I'll tell you something real quick before we get out of here. What are you thinking about the big game coming up this next Sunday?
Man,
what do you like?
I played for the Chiefs, obviously, and briefly, and we took the team there, and the old equipment guy that was there when I played, obviously, was still there, and he let us have the full-on Monty tour. It was great. Were you with us?
No, I didn't get to go because I drove up the next morning.
That's right.
That was on what was that the Highland game?
Yep. Highland
yeah.
Game. So man, my gut tells me it reminds me of the Rams and the New England Patriots when the Rams had the best show on turf. They played a New England team that was unified and had a great defense, and it's again that same situation. I don't think Garoppolo's Tom Brady, but at the same time, I think their defensive front is similar to the Giants' front when they beat the Patriots when they were 18-0. It reminds me of that game, man. And as being a coach, I'm leaning at the Niners with their defense and their running game, and their, I think the head coach there does a great job play calling. I think that if they control the game and are not down in the game, they're unlike the Titans. They are unlike the Texans in the fact that if they get up like those two teams did, which will be the argument to my discussion here, I think the Niners are different in the fact that their running game and their defense is so much better than the other two teams that were up on the Chiefs. I think it'd be hard for the Chiefs to come back from that because of the ball control offense that the Niners will have, plus that defense with veterans in the back row, such as Richard Sherman and leadership like that, who's already won a Super Bowl. I think that carries a lot of weight. Now, if the Chiefs get up 14-0, I think the game is over. It can get ugly quick. I think the Chiefs can vertically threaten you like no other team in the NFL. Obviously, with their speed, they are the fastest team in the league. They got a couple of JUCO guys, as you know. One of their running backs, Darwin, played against us in our bowl game.
Right.
At NEO, but it's a tough pick for me, man, because it's a number one over, it's the number one D, and a good friend of mine, Eric Bieniemy, coaches over there with the Chiefs, and my coaching side of me is going to take the Niners in a close one. My fan pick would be the Chiefs in a shootout. I just don't know if Garoppolo can make the plays to have a true shootout. I just think it's going to be I think if the Niners win, it'll be a 28-25 game. If the Chiefs win, I think it's going to be a 42-28 game. And I just about, I know I'm on the fence here, but I will make my pick down this next week. But right now, I think I'm leaning towards the Niners in a game that the coach there understands it because he had a big lead on the Patriots as the play caller for the Atlanta Falcons a few years ago and let it get away from him.
Right.
And now he's the head coach, and I think he's learned, as he's only 40 years old, but I think he's learned as a young coach, and I think if he can get his guys to do what he says and buy in, I think the Niners are going to be hard to beat. But again, the Chiefs again are dynamic, so we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting. But that's a coach's talking. That's a coach of me talking there, and it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a good game, though. I think it's the best two teams. Obviously, I picked the Seahawks to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs still made it. But we'll see. I hate the Niners, man. Growing up as a Ram fan, so.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great game myself. Spree, how about you, man? Who you picking?
I'm going with the black quarterback. I hate to say it. I want a black quarterback to win it. So I think he's the sentimental favorite. There's no doubt about it. And they are dynamic offensively. I mean, they're averaging 43 points a game in the postseason, but the Niners are only giving up 15 points defensively. So JB, you hit the nail right on the head, man. It's the big O against the big D, and I think it'll be a great game. Being in Kansas, and I have two brothers who live in Kansas City. Of course, Chiefs would be the sentimental pick. They haven't been there in 50 years, and but there is a guy that Robert Albarino Jr., who's the vice president and executive producer for the 49ers, has been a really kind guy to me. I actually met him via social media on Twitter. He contacted me actually and just said, "Hey, I saw you on Last Chance U. I really loved your energy and you calling the games." He goes, "You're a star, Jeff," and I had to laugh at that. But he's just a real he's a genuine guy, and actually he's been with the Niners for 7 years now, since 2013, and prior to that, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs in the same capacity. So it's interesting, how those roads intertwine and meet. But he is a great guy, so I'm going to kind of lean to the Niners because I'd like to see Robert, come out on top and win it all. But I think it's going to be a great game, and hope you guys enjoy it. And I know America's going to be watching closely because it's going to be an exciting game.
No doubt. You are a star, man. Shit, like I told a lot of people, you should be a D1 announcer. There's no question. You got the voice and the knowledge and
definitely
charisma and all that shit, man. It's unfortunate you're in a town of 9,000 people, and until the show got out there, I argue this all the time. If the show came out and you were doing this at 30 years old, you'd probably be a Kansas City Chief announcer or K-State or KU announcer. Somebody would have probably scooped you, but you know how that is, man. Time.
Oh yeah, man. It's right place at the right time and everything in life. And you know, and I'm certainly blessed with the opportunity to be on the show and to be a part of, you know, when you were at Independence, JB, and I appreciate that, and thank you for your comments. But, you know, the reality is I'm thankful I can do what I do no matter where I'm at, and, you know, it's not something everybody can do or has an opportunity to do it. And even if I'm in Southeast Kansas, you know, I still enjoy being around the kids in the program. So, you know, like I say, that's a huge benefit to me. But, you know, somehow, some way, man, hopefully our paths will crisscross again and we'll get to hang out.
Oh, no doubt about it, brother. Hey, you ain't doing shit on the Super Bowl Sunday. Come on down. I'm going to do a live podcast. And,
oh, yeah.
And Greg will be here with the cameras, and they'll be filming us, and we'll have some fun, man. A couple of buddies coming over, and we'll have a little party. But I told Tammy.
Sounds good.
So.
Sounds good, brother.
Hey, brother, it's good talking to you, man. And I'll stay in touch,
Definitely.
brother. All right, Jeff.
All right, Jeff. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, brother.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Good talking to Jeff, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Great, one of the great humans in this game, man.
Yeah.
Good shout out to Jeff, and make sure you following us on YouTube. Make sure you follow The Real Coach _JB and Spreewell Inc. And for JB and my man Spree, episode 17 is in the books. Again, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant and his daughter. What a fucked up tragedy happened today. And you know, hey, God be easy on their soul. And for the JB and Spree, episode 17, Slapdick Pod, we're out.
Out of here.
Peace.
Hope this ain't my last chance.
It's the last chance for you.
Last chance for me. Will I make it? Will I take it to the top? We gon' see. It's the last chance for you. Last chance for me. It's the last chance for you. Last chance for me. It's the last chance for you.